Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. With me today is Kyle George with Troy Athletics here to talk about guidelines, seating guidelines, COVID protocols for baseball and softball this season. Kyle, thanks for joining me here today.
Absolutely, happy to be here.
And it seems like you were just here talking about basketball guidelines, and before that, football guidelines. Obviously, we're in the world of COVID, so this just has become a part of daily life for us here. But talk a little bit this year, because baseball and softball, a little bit different. It's an outdoor event, but there's still some things that people are going to have to know about if they're attending games this year, specifically baseball, because you've got to buy tickets and all that sort of stuff. So talk a little bit about what y'all have got going on for the baseball and softball.
Well, first and foremost, we're just glad to have them back in action again. Both those teams, had their seasons cut short in the middle of all this last year, so glad to have both baseball and softball back in action. Both of those facilities will be at 50% capacity this season. With that number too, we're able to take care of our student body as part of that number as well. Over at baseball, all season ticket holders have been accommodated over there. We spread things out a lot more in terms of our seating capacity, what it looks like where you're going to be located in terms of reserve seats there for it. So you'll have a minimum of 2 seats in between season ticket holder accounts. And then in the general admission sections, it's more of a self-distancing section, letting fans kind of spread themselves out, which is what you're going to see over at softball as well too. With 50% capacity, we can seat just about 250 individuals over there at softball, let people spread out within the stands, but we also have some overflow capability down the sideline as well too.
And of course with that, this is an outdoor event, and with COVID, the outdoor events have always kind of been a little less structured due to the fact of not being in a contained space. Was that some of the concerns when y'all are looking into this about being able to distance differently because it was an outdoor event?
Sure, that definitely is it's advantageous for us really to be outdoors, because when we're inside with Trojan Arena, a lot more restrictive in terms of the number of individuals we can have there. We can get up to 50% in terms of being outdoors, and if things progress and get better for us later on down the line, we can possibly get a chance to revisit that later on as well too. And we hope as we get into the fall, we're in a much better position for all of us as it comes to the vaccine and items like that as well too. But for right now, with it being outdoors, it does help us out quite a bit. Fans can spread out. You don't have to be necessarily as spread out as inside Trojan Arena, but you still have the ability to spread out in our seating capacity. With that too, we're asking fans to wear a mask at all times when you're inside the facility. We're making sure that the restrooms and the concession stand, all that, very similar to what you've seen over at Veterans Memorial Stadium throughout football season. A lot of those things have been brought over and utilized at both the Troy softball complex as well as Riddle Pace Field for baseball.
And of course, softball, there's free admission at softball. So kind of how do you're going to kind of handle the flow of people in and out? Is there going to be kind of any kind of restrictions on how people can get into the stands or anything like that?
There is. Over at softball, when you come in through the parking lot, that'll be the main entrance point there for it. That's really the only entrance point, to be a matter of fact there. What you'll do is you'll come up there, students show an ID, fans would be able to get a ticket right there for it as well too. So we'll have an actual ticket handed to you to keep a head count of the number of individuals inside the ballpark there for it as well. When we have tournaments taking place, whether that's early in the season or if it comes to the Sun Belt tournament later in the season, we'll clear the stadium in between games for that to help disinfect the seating areas for that as well too. And so that's been working pretty well there for us, make sure that everybody is in a nice clean environment there for it as well too. Over at baseball, we don't necessarily have to clear the stadium in between games since you don't have that component in the baseball schedule. But with that, you do have to make sure you have a ticket when you come into the stadium. For students, you show your student ID. That will serve as your ticket getting into the baseball field this season as well.
And ticketing, obviously you mentioned that season ticket holders have been taken care of. How are you looking for single game tickets or anything like that for baseball for those individuals that are not season ticket holders?
We will still have single game tickets available for purchase for baseball. We will release those the week of every single home series or midweek series as well too there. So single game tickets will go on sale 1 week prior to the game itself there. They are in limited supply therefore, so a very limited number of single game tickets are available to purchase. So the best way to guarantee that you're at all the Troy baseball games this season, purchase your season tickets, go online to troytrojans.com/tickets or give us a call at 334-670-3681.
And now walk-ups, is there still going to be accommodating walk-ups this season for these games? People want to come maybe just a Saturday game. Is that something that they're going to be able to deal with, or do they need to try to get those even single game tickets in advance?
I'd encourage people to buy them in advance to guarantee you've got that ticket there for it. There are going to be some games this year. They're going to be a little bit higher demand, so you'll want to make sure you buy that in advance. Walkups will be available while supplies last, though. So we'll make sure we keep fans updated throughout the season, what that availability looks like there. But I would encourage fans, buy those in advance to guarantee you've got that ticket able to come into the ball games this season.
All right, well, and once again, for any of these guidelines, for anybody that wants to check out either to get tickets, or how to get tickets, what to do, TroyTrojans.com, right? So
your source for everything Troy Athletics, TroyTrojans.com, on both the baseball as well as softball pages. There's a direct landing page on there as well too that has our guidelines. So if you're looking for the schedule, information, all that, just go to TroyTrojans.com and find your favorite sport there.
All right, well, here's hoping that folks take advantage of these seating capabilities for both of these. I know it's an exciting season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a full season of baseball and softball this year. So, well, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.